and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome and welcome to this special broadcast of Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony C, co-hosting with my partner Dennis Jah. And in today's edition of Focus on Liberia, this special broadcast, by the way, we have the honor to have Mr. Smith Toby, Deputy Presidential Press Secretary, joining us from Paris, France. And he is here to give us updates on the president and his delegation trips to Paris, France, attending the Generation Equality Forum. At this time, I will welcome my partner, Dennis Jah, and he will welcome Mr. Smith Toby for us. Dennis, I'm all set. Let's do this.
We're glad to have Mr. Toby back in the house. We want to say welcome to all our viewers across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia, and we are broadcasting live from Atlanta, Georgia, joining our colleague, Mr. Smith Toby, who's going to be joining us all the way from the beautiful city of Paris. Mr. Toby, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We're glad to have you.
Well, again, let me say thanks to the team. It's been a while, but it's always a wonderful time seeing the both of you on your platform, and we are happy that we can again reconnect. It is always our pleasure to be on your platform. We've been out of here for a while now. The last time we talked, we were at update number 14, and we are hoping that we can recommence our bi-weekly update on your platform, but we are happy that you've managed to reach out to us here in Paris. And we are also pleased to talk to the Liberian people following your podcast, Weah, Far and Near, on the issues of interest. So I'm happy to be back on your platform.
Thank you so much. How is it there in Paris?
Well, it's a beautiful place, like you rightly said. They are in their summer now, so that we are not experiencing the usual Paris cold, but it's a beautiful condition, a beautiful place, under a very good restriction in terms of COVID. They are gradually returning to life here in Paris. You know, the entire world is going through this global pandemic, and Paris is of no exception, but they are also into their own situation. But life has gradually returned here in Paris, and we are happy to again make a travel to this part of the world for the purpose of honoring several invitations in the interest of the Liberian people.
Thank you so much, Mr. C. There we have Mr. Toby back.
Yes, and it is always, exciting for me to have Mr. Toby here to ask the questions that Liberians have on their mind. Mr. Toby, this might be your first time in Paris, isn't it?
No, this is actually my second time here in Paris.
Okay.
The last time I came to Paris, again, I was part of the president delegation to Paris some year ago back when we came to under the invitation from President Macron for the Paris Peace Forum.
Okay.
President Weah visited Paris during that peace forum to join other leaders. So this is my second time here in Paris.
All right. I know you are on a presidential mission, to pull it that way. I'm just curious, have you been able to see other places like tourist centers? Your schedule does not permit you? What's happening?
Well, again, with the kind of work we do in terms of movement along with the president, our activities to tourist center at times become very difficult because once the president gets engaged with meetings and with his partners and people that are moving in and out with different schedule, it is always difficult for us to see places of interest. But notwithstanding, just to take a look of a beautiful city is a tourist attraction for me as a whole. So it is not for me to go to the tower in Paris or drive around entertainment centers or tourist site, but the entire city alone is a tourist site for me because it's a beautiful attraction. There's a lot to see around the city. So every time you have this opportunity to see a country or city well developed, it always adds to your tourist attraction. So we are happy the way we see it, and the job is also very important for us. And so we are coping with the activities as they present themselves to us.
So briefly, Mr. Toby, just let's go. You've been in Paris, I don't know for how long now. How was the flight, and what summarize the president's itinerary for us, just in few sentences since you got there?
Well, again, the president had 2 invitations extended him here for Paris. The first invitation that the president received came from the UN Women, the organizers of the Generation Forum, the most talked about forum. And then the president also received another follow-up invitation from President Emmanuel Macron, all falling on the same date, extending the president participation and, of course, bilateral visit here to Paris. So those 2 invitations were being honored by the president. That is why he accepted to be a part of the Generation Forum that brought together leaders, some leaders of the world, and of course, other former actors or state actors, and of course, to also honor the personal invitation of President Emmanuel Macron. Remember, some time ago, President Macron invited some African leaders here to Paris,
right.
And President Weah did not make that trip to Paris because he was then engaged with his scheduled country tour. And so he could not come to Paris to join other African leaders during the summit year for African leaders hosted by President Emmanuel Macron. So again, he extended another invitation to President Weah as a follow-up to the invitation from the UN Women to come and grace their occasion and to follow up his conversation with President Emmanuel Macron. So the president has been here in Paris since he arrived. He's met President Macron on 3 separate occasions now, and it's been going very well. We can details to you based on your questions as we proceed with the conversation.
Right, and briefly before we even go through some of the pictures that we're seeing now, there's been conflicting reports about the number of people making the president's delegation. How many of you over there?
Well, again, the official delegation for the president total 6 persons. Liberia is a very interesting country. I remember the scenario when President Weah had an invitation to go to Israel sometime during his second term of his administration. Again, some of our friends, whether from the opposition or from somewhere, concocted a list of individuals traveling with the president. The official delegation here in Paris accompanying the president include 6 persons. So the list of 37 is not even factual to even talk about. The only thing that is not professional and we would not want to do here is to tell you how many securities, and no one does that to any president that travel to another country or for whatever reason. Security of the president is always a security. That is why it's called security. But the official team delegation of the president, accompanying the president, is 6, and that's the official number.
Right. And that includes you? That's 6 person?
Say that again?
So the 6 person include you, or who are the 6?
Well, the 6 person definitely will not include me because I'm a support staff to the office of the president as one of his lieutenant, and of course covering his office as a media and communication and deputy press secretary to the president. So I'm not captured in that list of the official delegation of the president, even though that covered his office specifically. So the 6 person covering the president include the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Commissioner of Maritime, the Minister of Gender. The First Lady is also here with the President, and of course the President, official Chief of Protocol.
So, Mr. Toby, I know you said the official delegation, the total number is 6 persons. Do you not know the total number of persons who don't make the official list?
No, that's what I said. It is not for me to tell you the total number of security. You know, security is very important. We can't be discussing president security, and a security man cannot be an official delegation of the president. And I'm a support staff to the office of the president. I work in his office as his deputy communication chief. So you cannot capture me under the president official delegation, even though I cover his office. So the official delegation in country, following the president everywhere he goes to his meeting, include the president and 6 others.
Mr. Toby, before we get to some details of the trip, benefit, if any, that has been accrued, because we got some report as well. But I'm just curious. There also was news in some quarters about the total amount of money that's been spent on this particular trip. Is that something you know and that you wish to share?
Well, again, I wouldn't want to dabble into something that will not be in my area of expertise. I'm not the financial overseer in the office of the president, but these trips include money. I may not know in cents, dollars, or dime as to how much the government have spent on this trip. I hope that the financial expert will we talked about that. I wouldn't want to talk about how much the government of Liberia has spent on the travel, but an important part of it is that this is a official invitation from the president of France, extended to the president of Liberia, accompanied by the invitation from the UN Women. Remember, President Weah is the feminist in chief of Liberia, and coming to form a part of a forum that highlighted women issue, women's rights, women participation, raising the voices of women in every sector was very important for the president participation. So to tell you how much in terms of the dime, nickel, or dollar that went into this will be somewhere beyond my scope.
I get that, Mr. Toby. I get that. But the thing is that you are the spokesman of the president. We media folks will come to you with all the questions citizens are asking. I will not, kind of pin you down on the details, but at least the figure, maybe that's something that you should be in a position to know, because we're going to ask you.
I'm one person who wouldn't shy away from information. One, it is at my disposal, and I wouldn't want to do injustice to your viewers and your listeners to give them figure that doesn't exist. And to keep it as it is, I wouldn't want to go into the financial detail as to what went into the travel. I know that travel is not free, but as to how much was spent on this travel, it's not something that I'm in the know of. And I wouldn't want to go into that direction to give contradicting information on a specific issue that is not before me.
Thank you. Mr. Toby, we were privileged to carry the forum live on the first day. And during that, we were looking for you guys in the crowd, even though we didn't control the camera. Just tell me, which we didn't find. Tell me what has been the role of the president and his delegation in the forum, if any.
I saw your crew following the forum. I'm not sure you were looking for the president because you were in the cameraman. You were also following the shots coming out of the hall, because I saw your team directly relaying from the link provided for observers and people online to follow. The president was in the hall, and that is why you saw those photos of his presence in the hall. His arrival into the corridor of the forum. The picture is at the one you're showing right now on your screen took place at the mansion, they call it, or the Elysee Palace.
Right.
Picture right here is the
And we'll come
Elysee
to these
Palace.
pictures. We'll come to these pictures, so you'll describe them one by one. I was asking for the role.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so yes, the president was in the hall. He was sitting right to the left-hand side of President Macron's official position. President Weah was on the left of President Macron. On the right of President Macron was President Uhuru Kenyatta. So if you go back to the video and look carefully on the left-hand side of where you saw President Macron sitting, that's exactly where President Weah was sitting. On the far right or close right to President Macron was President Uhuru Kenyatta. At the further end, that's where you had the former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, the president of the World Bank, and of course the head of the UN Women and others. So they were all in the same gallery, but our president was very close to where President Macron was sitting. On the close left-hand side of President Emmanuel Macron, that's where President Weah sat during the entire forum. In the forum was also Liberia gender minister, who also accompanied the president. Remember, we're talking gender issue here.
Right.
And it was wonderful to see all of the gender actors. Some countries and individuals were making commitment to the conference. And of course, Melania Gates, for example, spoke. Madam Clinton also spoke at the conference. Our president was not scheduled to speak on the first day of the conference, by the way. And we heard people, our following various media outlet, and people kept asking, even on your platform, where's the president? Where's the president? But the president was in there. All of the shots you saw coming out of the conference was something that we took, and we intended doing that to put out to the public, because there has been so much conversation around the president coming to France. He's not coming to France. There's been this argument and misunderstanding on the conference, that the conference was going to be virtual. It was not in person. So all of what happened clearly showed people out there that there was so much misinformation about the conference. And you saw it for yourself. It was in-person conference, even though some of the speakers, including the president from Mexico, spoke via virtual means, but 85% of the participants of the forum were in person.
So, Mr. Toby, talking about, so much debate as to whether it was in person or virtual, and then looking at the fact that we now have an elevated level of COVID-19 with the Delta variant in Liberia. So there was the debate that, given the seriousness of the coronavirus in Liberia, President Weah should have chosen, to do visual instead. Like you talk about the president of Mexico. I think when we were relaying it, we saw the president of Argentina, also even vice president of the United States, as you saw, you were in the hall, spoke visually as well. So there was this debate that maybe President Weah could have done that. So my question is, why was it necessary that President Weah be there in person as compared to virtual, given the coronavirus seriousness we have in our country?
So again, the importance of the president coming in person is what we have reaped from his presence here in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
We as a country, like you rightly said, we are struggling with the new variant of the coronavirus. Our capacity has always been challenged, and if we are to make some very huge progress, is for the leader of the country to also make use of these opportunities. And so our coming here to Paris in person, like I said, one, invitation from the UN Women. Second, invitation from the president of France. And we've done with all of our engagements here. Our president has participated into the forum. It's ended on today. He's completed his meeting with President Macron, and the fruit of his engagement here is what Liberia will be benefiting between now and Saturday.
Do you care to share those fruits with us and our audience?
Say that, I'm not getting you. One of you sound very low from your end.
Can you share those fruits with us, the fruits that we have reaped as a result of this trip, if you don't mind?
Well, Well, again, I'm sure you've been reading all of our reports coming out of Paris as a country, knowing very well that we are challenged, and not just President Weah came to Paris. Like I said, there were other presidents here, and there was other African presidents here, like the president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and others. But talking about the fruit from the summit is huge. It's huge not just for COVID, but it's also huge for youth empowerment, capacity building, um, rural infrastructure development, and you can name the rest of it. And there's this immediate response that came out of the president meeting. Like I said, the president met President Macron on 3 separate occasions. They first met at the official opening of the forum. On the same day, they both met again at a dinner. And then they met officially on yesterday at the Palace Élysée, the official seat of the French presidency. And our president took the time to express his country's gratitude and, of course, help that he received from the government of France so far during his administration. There was issue discussed on the maritime of our country. There were issues that had to do with the military. You know that Liberia and France are both feeding troops into Mali. Liberia now has a new responsibility in that peacekeeping mission. They are providing security for the Timbuktu camp where the rest of the peacekeepers are situated. We are challenged capacity-wise. The both presidents were able to discuss as to what level of assistance France can give Liberia to buttress the armed forces of Liberia participation in the peacekeeping mission in Mali. And then the issue of youth capacity and, of course, rural capacity building also came about, which, of course, the government of France, again, has made some commitment. We will tell you about that commitment as we go through the conversation. There's an interest in the maritime. That is why the Commission on Maritime also came along with the president. There are several French ships flying the flag of Liberia. And, of course, our territorial waters, we are told, is being infiltrated by pirates. And if we are to make progress in our maritime field, we've been here talking to the government of France to help provide some logistics, some means to protect our species, to protect our water. And that conversation was also enhanced by the involvement of the president of France. He took some very serious note on some of the issues raised in the conversation.
So, Mr. Toby, if I may, can you in clear terms state to us the fruits that we reaped, that we, as a result of this trip that you said? So are you talking about the serious note that he took? Is that it?
Okay, so since your main issue is what we are reaping, we are returning to Liberia in the midst of COVID with 40,000 test kits. As I speak to you, that is already on its way to Liberia.
Okay.
It is going along with several respirators. We're talking about testing, the situation of COVID. There's a challenge with respirators in our country. And so 40,000 of those kits and several respirators are on the way to Liberia. They will be in Liberia before Saturday, and the president returns to Liberia on Saturday. There's this conversation for more support for vaccine to Liberia through COVAX. You know that France is also playing a very major role in this COVAX vaccine. And so Liberia is to directly benefit as one of the priority countries of France. So they are going to supply vaccine to the country to help vaccinate the Liberian population. Those are some of the benefits that we are returning with. We also want to tell you that normally people want to look at the financial benefit in terms of what the government is going to get in terms of cash. We are returning with the amount of 23 million euro. 23 million euro is going to go through the Agency for France Development. It's going to go for youth development in our country. It's going to go for urban housing projects. And all of those projects are earmarked under this administration of President Weah. And he wants to see them happen in the country. So the government of France has made an initial contribution of 23 million euro, along with all of the items listed that is on its way to Liberia for the fight against COVID. Is that not something that we reap from this trip?
I wanted to find that out from you, Mr. C.
Thank you, Mr. Toby. And you are saying all of the things that you listed, the 40,000 testing kits, 23 million dollars euro. I mean, I'm saying 23 million euros, I should say, it's not dollars. Could not have been achieved or accrued had the president not been there.
Well, again, sometimes these face-to-face reaction or conversation is more instant. Remember, the France ambassador, foreign minister, was just in Liberia a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
he's gone to re-establish the Alliance Française. He was in Liberia. He met with the president. He also met with the Liberian foreign minister. He came back with the message of Liberia wanting help. And of course, those are diplomatic channels. He had to come, he had to find some time to meet President Macron, to brief him. And I'm sure his briefing could take days. But with the immediate conversation and the immediate response was needed. Because when President Weah spoke to President Macron, he did not hesitate. I'm sure the same message has been communicated through the ambassadors. But the President Macron responded immediately. I'm sure he didn't just give an instruction. But upon the conversation with President Weah, there was an immediate instruction to package those kits, board them on Air France and take them to Liberia. Could a foreign minister immediately get that sort of response without the intervention of the president being on the ground? So that is why the coming of President Weah was very, very important. And President Macron knows the importance of his interaction with President Weah, and that is why he said, we will even help to vaccinate your population. And that is a big boost to our fight. We are returning with those test kits and those respirators to put them into our system while we work around other means to get more support. But that is what the president has achieved, and it was necessary that he made a trip to France.
Thank you. Again, folks watching us, this is Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony C.A., co-hosting with my partner, Dennis Jah. We are in conversation with Deputy Presidential Press Secretary, Mr. Smith Toby, who has joined us all the way from Paris, France, where he is part of the president staff there attending the conference. According to him, the president is in France, Paris, because of two invitations that he has received. Mr. Toby, I listened to the conference and I noticed countries, other humanitarians, other actors that making some commitment in their effort to promote gender equality. We tried to get the live show yesterday to relay as we did the first day, but we wanted to see the president speaking and maybe some member of his team also speaking. My question is, did Liberia make any commitment on gender equality at the forum? Because we listen to people making commitment.
Well, again, when you follow the conference very well and hear Madam Gate, for example, speak and made billions of dollars commitment. and hear other philanthropists speaking about women's issue and pledging their commitment through funding to different aspects of women's rights. And hearing some of the victims explain their story of what they've encountered in their respective countries, from Syria to Kenya to France, even to the United States. Our participation in the conference was not about making financial commitment.
I'm not only talking about. I don't want to interrupt you. I'm not trying to suggest only financial commitment, Mr. Toby, because when I listening to the president of Kenya, Mr. Kenyatta, he talked about what Kenya will do in its efforts to promote gender equality. It does not have to be about money. Did Liberia make any commitment?
And let me follow up with that, Mr. This is coming on the heels of the SGBV roadmap that was, brought into force. And since then, we have not seen any movement on that as to what needed to be done to combat the SGBV in Liberia. So when CA is talking about the commitment, what is Liberia going to do differently when it comes to gender equality?
Well, you are aware that that roadmap came and the president made several commitments to the roadmap.
Yeah, it's not moving. It's stagnant.
It is not. It is not stagnant. Currently in the country, one of the major things that hinder investigation relating to sexual and gender-based violence had to do with DNA machines. Liberia has been there. I'm not sure we have one in several years. And through the effort of the president, who's also the feminist in chief, we've managed to have those machines at the JFK, helping to investigate, some of the reports coming out of sexual and gender-based violence. Our president is very strong on those domestic issues. Liberia is not encouraging FGM. The president has been speaking against that on several occasions. In the roadmap, the ethos is not just about the president, but the ethos of the roadmap are equally playing the role. So coming here and listening, to all of victims and other actors and raising the voices of women on those domestic issues was a very key point. And we've come here as a country under the Ministry of Gender, even though the president is the president. But Liberia do have a roadmap. We have a roadmap that is being rolled out and is being implemented. It may not be at the speed that you expect due to some of the challenges, but again, as we move back into our country and tackle those issues, it is for the interest of the women and of course the girls, the less fortunate, mothers in our society. Even the first lady who accompanied the president was able to talk to the first lady of France to get involved into empowering rural women through financial aid, giving them loans, soft loan, to make sure that women's can stand up. Those are the kind of conversation we've been having here.
What's about our general minister? Did she have any side meetings with any of the war talks there?
Oh yes, yesterday she was with UNESCO, and later on she went to UNICEF. They had series of SALA meetings, focusing on the issue of women and to what role other countries can help the Ministry of Gender in Liberia, to focus on her own gender-related issues. So yes, the minister was engaged. She's been engaged. As we speak, she stayed engaged on today, even though the president's schedule has elapsed. But those ministers who accompanied the president have stayed engaged in several other conversations.
Thank you. And Mr. Toby, I know why the president is over in Paris. He's being briefed daily on the COVID situation back home. What is the president getting as the state of affairs has it come to the high level of the alert, level 4 alert of COVID in Liberia? And what is he going to do differently when he gets back? Because currently we see that there is a problem in communication. We don't have at least one person who is going to really communicate what we need to know concerning COVID in Liberia. We don't see much coordination among the different parties responsible in combating this disease, and also the coordination and collaboration. So what's going to change when the president gets back based on the feedback and the briefings that he's getting currently?
Well, again, that is a decision of that will be made by the president. But I can tell you for sure the president is in touch. He's in constant communication with the team back home. He's been briefed daily as to the status of the situation. The president was in France when the mesh on the light that you talked about from the U.S. Embassy through the Center for Disease Control came out, putting Liberia at level 4. There's a evening daily visual meeting with the team from Liberia that takes place with the president, giving him indicators and highlights of the situation taking place in the country. Again, the president returned on Saturday, and he's going to get more briefing from the ground, face on, and whatever decision that will be made with the advice of the expert. But again, it's a decision that comes from the office of the president, and that decision comes when the president is ready to make the decision.
Mr. Toby, reports coming in suggest that the testing in Liberia as a whole, especially at the airport there, is a disaster. We had a show here, people called who have had experiences there, and there was one caller who even said that they only had 3 tablets there and 3 having to be down. So it's taking people like 4 to 5 hours to get tested. And even when they are tested, they don't get their results. And some of them without their results are being allowed to fly out. So with the testing kit,
the issue of testing varies. I'm here in France. I've just gone to do my test for my return to the country. Mm-hmm. It's going to take me almost 48 hours to get a result of the test. Is it that France is not sophisticated? They are. They carry all of the sophistication. There are several testing centers here in Paris, but we've done one test.
But they are complaining. Most of these people are complaining that they're not getting their result, Mr. Toby.
I just want to tell you some of the situations that happen with the testing. Okay. And we should understand that our country is equally challenged. No one in the know or had an immediate soft problem to solve this problem of the COVID situation. So it's come as the way it is, and everyone is trying in their weak way to get adjusted. And if we all sit and start to complain that we are about traveling and there's a delay in the testing and there's delay in the result, those are some of the technical things that those technicians responsible are working on to make sure that it is solved. I hear the Minister of Health talk to the public almost every day. I hear Dr. Francis Kete brief people about some of the procedures leading to testing. Now that we are bringing in more testing kits, that will help the process, make it speedy for people to get their result. Those are the kind of situations we are trying to solve. All of those hurdles, all those hitches along the way will get better. It is not going to be automatic. It's not going to be speeded as Liberians may think, but is the government making effort? Yes, the government is making effort. If JFK is having a delay, if the centers are having delay, if they are having challenges, those challenges, sometimes we never know it until the public talked about it. Like you rightly said, people have been talking about it. Now that we are solving those problems head on, it's going to get better. It is not for us to condemn the effort of the government, like nothing is being done and everyone is sitting supinely and not even thinking about finding a solution to the problem. The government is definitely finding a solution to the problem.
Mr. Toby, let me follow up here. Stay on the testing at IRA. There is a white professor, Dr. Tim, who teaches at Cotton University and NTU. He posted on Facebook, and when we saw this, we were shocked. We had him here 2 times. He's teaching history, Liberian history, by the way. And he posted that the testing that is going on at the airport is a bogus. That's the language that he used. It's a bogus testing. And he said Liberian nationals are either paying 50 or 75 They don't get their result, and they are not even complaining because they are complaining and there's no answer. My question is, will the president take any action here? Because of late, we saw Eugene Fagon being fired for quote unquote spreading false information. These are people that are carrying on acts that are not only dubious but corrupt. Will we see action?
Look, let me tell you something. Where there's action needed, the president will take action. And the president will not take action because one doctor put on his Facebook, the testing at Roberts Fee is bogus. We've heard several different complaints from places of tests and several different things that the Ministry of Health, the MPhil, and the government of Liberia are handling health on. Sometimes people, like you said, will with the result, it is not coming, the right out of frustration, and so they are in anger when they are writing, and so they generalize the entire thing with their own frustration. But again, like I already said to you, it is not to push the president to take action or to dismiss people. When there is something that can be corrected and somebody is falling short of it, is there a way we can correct it? I think it's better to keep the professionals on the field and correct, some of those things that can be corrected. But if you want the president to go back to Roberts Fee and change the whole status quo and sack everybody from there because one person have written or two persons have complained that the testing situation there is bogus, people pay $75. I've gone to countries that have paid more than $75 to do a COVID test. Some people pay more than $250 United States dollars just to do a COVID test. So sometimes you do it and you wait, the result is not coming until your flight is about to leave. You get into frustration. It is not just unique to Liberia. Why we keep making the situation like it is just Liberia? I'm going out of France on Sunday. I've taken a test that is expected to come in 48 hours. If it doesn't come between now and Sunday, what become of my return to the country? So those things do happen. So we cannot be shifting and getting out of anger and acting that is only unique to our country, which of course that is not the case.
Yeah,
that is not the case. No one celebrate people tests being delayed. The government is not doing it to celebrate you or deny you from traveling. But when there's a situation, we all need to understand that there is a situation. Can we solve it? Put hands together and solve it and stop the complaining.
Thank you, Mr. Toby. We're almost out of time because you have some constraints on your time. So we just want to roll in two last questions, and then if you will allow more time, that would be great. But my question to you is, at RIA, there is a protocol for people to go through. For instance, I think on the Ministry of Health website, we have the protocols to go through. 20 persons should not be. Will the president delegation be submitting to the protocols at the JFK? Walk me through what the protocols are, and will the president and his team be able to submit to them?
Well, again, in time past, every time the president returned, the VIP is overcrowded, and we've seen a change in that protocol. The VIP no longer accept more than 20 persons. So even the return of the president, his press takeout will not be in the usual formality. So definitely, yes, the president and his delegation will follow the protocol. The president is not going to allow people, overcrowd the VIP. Even the ministers that usually turn out to go to the Roberts International Airport to await the president, they are aware that the numbers will not exceed 20, and the president will not want to see an overcrowded Roberts International Airport because he's returning from France. He's rather going to be in a very restricted VIP due to the COVID protocol. Even in France, people are not wearing the masks here as you think they are wearing in Liberia, but the president is still wearing his mask everywhere he's gone. In his interaction, sometimes, yes, he's relaxed due to the environment, but no one is overlooking the situation of COVID. And President Weah is not one person who's going to take that, for he's aware. So his VIP return or departure at the Roberts International Airport is strictly being adhered to by the protocol of the president.
Thank you. Let's roll on in some pictures here so you can tell us, because there were doubts that the president was even there. So when these pictures came out, people saw them. So tell us.
Okay, so this picture was at the arrival of President Weah and Madam Claire Marie Weah at the opening of the forum. That is when they've just come down the stairs, and they were met upon arrival by President Macron. This one is what I'm still talking about. They was met upon arrival. This picture with President Weah and Madam Hillary Clinton, and of course the head of the African Development Bank. This was at the end of the forum when all of the leaders were about to disperse, and of course they were having one-on-one introduction. This was the picture from inside of the hall with Madam Hillary Clinton, the head of the World Bank, and President George Weah. The picture you put in forth here is from inside of the Élysée Palace, the official seat of the French government. This is where the bilateral conversation took place on yesterday. And you can definitely see the Minister of Defense there. And I'm sure Minister Nangbe is also there in this bilateral conversation. So this is inside of the Macron palace. You want to call it the Élysée Palace.
Why the two guys wearing pretty much the same suit?
And they are not.
Well, I'm not sure it is the same suit. It could be similar blue, but one could be darker than the other. They were not wearing a uniform to go to the palace. Sometimes people get dressed as a coincidence. So maybe this could be just one of it.
What about the social distancing?
But that is why you see right here. You see President Weah seated
right
in the distance.
No, this one, Mr. Toby, is this social distancing?
This one is also social distance. You see, it's a photo. So you don't. But if you want to talk about social distancing, did you see the video coming out of the hall that you were podcasting or relaying on your service? Yeah. People sat at distance, and this one is also considered as a distance. So this picture is inside of the living room. You call it the sitting room of President Emmanuel Macron. In the red tie is President Weah, and of course in the bigger chair is the President of France, President Emmanuel Macron. They both were holding their conversation just in the absence of the rest of the delegation.
Who's taking note here? Do you remember the person?
Well, again, there's a state house photo. After normally every state house will have the opportunity to do the president's photo. This one is from inside of the bilateral forum. And so the bilateral conversation had all of the individuals, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs, D. Maxwell Kimia, Defense Minister Zenga, Eugene Nangbe from the Maritime. They were in this bilateral conversation with both President Weah and President Macron.
All right. That will do it for the photos there. Thank you, Mr. Toby. My final question before we take leave of you. We asked for 45 minutes. We are at 45. We don't want to go against your time. President Weah has not taken a vaccine, as we know, because we have not seen that. I don't think he will want to take vaccine in secret like Trump. So I will say that he has not taken the vaccine. The question Liberians are asking, why? And some are even believing this is not leadership on the part of the president.
So when you decided to get vaccinated, was it the family making the decision, or was it you as an individual who woke up in the morning and made a decision to get vaccinated?
I'm not president, Mr. Toby.
In other words, you are saying it is the president's decision, it's not our business. Is that what you're saying?
So I'm saying to you, when you woke up that fateful morning and decided to leave your house, was it a pressure from your family or your kids or your sibling, or was it your decision to get vaccinated?
I am not president.
All of the above, Mr. Toby.
The
So
decision,
what's the case with the president? Just let us
the
know.
decision as to when, how, where the president gets vaccinated is the president's decision. It is not my decision. It is not the population of Liberia can go on the mat and cry 24/7. When President Weah decides to get vaccinated, he will get vaccinated. You don't have to go by the public pressure. Everyone's have their own belief,
Mr.
and
Toby,
own attitude.
Has the president been vaccinated or not?
So I'm saying to you, if the president will get vaccinated or has been vaccinated, the public will get to know.
What is the story? Tell us. You were with the president.
I don't know the story.
Oh, you don't know. Okay.
Except you tell me there's a story.
No,
but again, like I said, the decision
has he taken the decision
to get
yes or no?
The decision to get vaccinated is an individual decision. Whether you are president or you are the lowest in the cubicle, it is your decision. So the decision for vaccination is president's Weah decision.
Has he taken his vaccination? Yes or no?
So I don't want you to keep asking if he has taken the vaccine or he's not. I'm not sure he's the only president in the world who haven't gotten vaccinated.
All right.
No, we are Liberians. We are concerned.
Oh, you are Liberians.
The president has not shown leadership, setting a good example in taking a vaccine.
So I'm sure the people in the United States did not queue up when President Donald Trump either got vaccinated or he didn't get vaccinated. President Weah is the president. He make his decision. He will decide.
Thank you.
When he make the decision, your anxiety and whatever you're thinking about will be history. But until then, he is the president.
All right, Mr. Toby. The reason we're trying to ask a question when this COVID hit, the Madagascar hit, President Weah was one of the leaders at the forefront who went to the RIA to get a COVID hit. And I don't know if he took it at the time. I would think so, because he was in the forefront. So when it came to vaccine, it's taking this long and he has not taken it. And that is why we are asking the question. Again, Mr. Toby, we want to say thank you. We have exhausted the 45 minutes you have allotted for us. Is there any other thing that you wish to say that we didn't ask you, sir?
Well, the good thing about it is that the government of Liberia has approved and sanctioned the vaccine. That is why it is even in the country.
Okay.
If this government was one government in the world who did not believe in vaccinating its population, we will not be talking about vaccine today. So it's been sanctioned, it's been approved, it's been accepted, it's been a minister in the country. And that is why we are part of the global society. And President Weah is very interested in seeing a safe, sound, and healthy population. That is why he's moving across, even in the midst of pandemic. He's making sure he can reach out to his friends, his partners, his colleagues around the world to get the needed support to save his population. He's going to do that definitely. The president returned to the country on Saturday with all of the goodies coming out of France. They are going to go directly into our health sector. It's going to boost our response. It's going to boost our vaccination process. It's going to boost our testing process. And we as a country will remain resilient, very strong people, and this too shall come to pass. I'm very happy to see the both of you again on this platform. I hope we can do this sometime very soon. But it's always my pleasure seeing the both of you, and my interaction with you has always been wonderful.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toby. We're glad to have you. Our viewers too are interacting, but that's the time allotted for this program. And so we want to thank you so much for your time. We'll be glad to have you and continue our Q&A with the Deputy Press Secretary. And we want to thank you. All our viewers.
And I hope we can do that upon my return to Liberia sometime soon. And we can reschedule our bi-weekly interaction.
Definitely.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So that will do it there. We could not ask as many questions as possible because he has some time constraint. But at least we were able to ask few questions, and we have the phone line open. If you look in the scrolling text there, the phone numbers are there. We have a WhatsApp number, and also we have our conference number that you can call to comment, to ask a question. We will not answer your question because we don't have the answers to that. But the phone lines are open. Then is why we wait for calls. Maybe we can get to some comments here.
Right. And while we wait for call, Mr. CA, I want to ask you, what, of the interview we had, what is the main thing that jumped out of you listening to Mr. Toby, about the president's trip, the vaccine, COVID, and everything in between?
Yeah, then is first of all, there was a debate whether or not it was necessary for the president delegation to make the trip, given that we have a Delta variant and Liberia is at level 4, which is the highest level of this deadly killer virus. So this debate has been going on, and some people have argued that whatever Liberia had, was going to receive, Liberia is going to receive it anyway. If President Weah has decided not to go, and in fact, some people argue that if he has stayed in Liberia and registered the seriousness of the pandemic in Liberia, he would have even gotten more, because his absence would have suggested that the COVID-19 in Liberia is so serious that the leader could not attend a major international conference where he would have had the opportunity, to meet with world leaders. But he went there anyway. That's the decision the government made. And now we're talking about $23 million, 23 million euro. And we're talking about 40,000 testing kits. And I think basically that all I got there.
Yeah.
We see the general minister from what he said, and along with the first lady having meetings on the side with others. We hope that Liberian women and girls will be able to get something that will help to improve their life. So if you ask me what jumped out of me, is that the president decided to go in the midst of COVID. And I mean, my position all along was that, he should not have gone, and he would have gotten those things that we got.
Right. And the idea for me that all the time we said, we make so much big deal about visiting somebody, taking photo of, or meeting with someone to get help. But we have a caller on the line. So let's go quickly to our calls. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Toby Nicole, and I'm calling from Texas. Am I audible enough?
Mr. Sia, can you hear Tavina?
Yes. She is.
Go ahead, Tavina, you're audible.
Okay, I want to say thanks for the show, and I want to contribute two things. I want to talk about the president's trip. From a timing perspective, absolutely it was not a right decision. I'm not sure who advised this president. You cannot, in the heat of the moment, abandon your troops pretty much if you are the chief of staff. So that was bad leadership, bad timing, bad decision. It doesn't matter the outcome. I see, seditions or whoever they are running that they got millions of dollars, even if manna drops from heaven. That's why you put people in leadership. We put people in roles that they can be able to do the work without your hand being in the pot or with all you being there. So he still would have been home at the same time getting whatever they got accomplished. He didn't have to be there. They had other people that would have been there. So for me, it doesn't matter. Optics, from all perspective, it was wrong. It doesn't matter what they accomplished. It was wrong. I want to speak to also the vaccine, the issue of the vaccine, what Mr. Toby mentioned about, when the president ready, he will take it. It is not about when he's ready. When you are a leader, you lead by example. You're telling our friends, our family, our loved ones to take a vaccine. But you as a president, and I doubt it, whether your wife, I doubt it, whether your key ministers, whether be it, peace hotel, whether be it justice or, police chief of staff, they all have been vaccinated. They cannot prove that they have been vaccinated. So in order for our loved ones, our friends to continue, for us to tell them to continue to get vaccinated, you guys in leadership must lead by example. So we're calling on the president to openly take the vaccine, and his wife and his high ups to take the vaccine. in as much as we're telling our people to mask up and to take the vaccine, they need to do it. It's not when he's ready. It's not how. It's a matter of time that he do it, and it has to be done right now. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Davina. Thanks for that contribution.
We have a caller here, Dennis. Let's see. Caller, hello there.
Yes.
You called to participate?
Yes, please.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Amos, and I'm calling from Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's something I just wanted to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the donation from the French government, the medical supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing people have not analyzed is that the letter that accompanied the donation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at the date that the letter was written and where it was written from?
Yeah, that was sometime around June.
June the 28th.
Yeah.
That was even before the president met with Macron.
Right.
So those donations were made way before the president went there. So it was not from the trip. So his going to France did not yield the medical supplies that were donated. No, they were actually donated before.
Mm-hmm.
Two things to prove that is the date that the letter was written, and in fact the letter was written in Monrovia by the embassy. Why would a donation come from France when the letter? If the president had got the donation while he was in France, why would the letter come from the French embassy in Monrovia? So those things were prearranged. So it's going to France had no bearing whatsoever on the gifts that were given. So that's one thing I wanted to clarify. Many people did not take note of that. They just read the letter and they thought that, oh yeah, this letter accompanied the donation from the president's travel. No, it's not true. You can look at the letter and what the letter was written from. You will know that those things were donated by the French government through the embassy in Liberia way before the trip.
Thank you so very much. That is a key point there. Then as we have callers, let's bring in this caller. Caller with phone number ending in 7840. Your name and where you're joining us from. Caller, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, how you doing? Thank you for thank you for having me on your platform.
Okay.
My name is Ben Phillips. I'm calling from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just know where to start, but I guess I don't know, Mr. Toby. I wish he was still on. But this whole issue of Mr. Toby coming on here and being so very defensive when it comes to the health of our country is just very repugnant. I'm just sitting here just totally upset about it. Anytime people are talking about the good of the entire country, folks in leadership just think this is a one-sided or partisan issue or tribal issue or whatever it is. And this is really not the time. He's comparing, waiting for his results that he would definitely get in France within 2 days, which is the time he needs to wait to get the results, versus the complete disaster that is at the airport when you go there to have your test taken or results. People are on putting your data in their personal phones, or that this whole country has one testing site. All of these things, it just upsets me that he doesn't think it's a problem. And they take this thing every time one step further, that they compare France, the United States, what's happening there to what's happening in Liberia. We are a unique country. There's a serious problem over there. If this thing really hits us, it's going to wipe out a good population over there. And that Mr. Chris does not even see that. He thinks this is a partisan issue. That folks cannot speak up to say, look, we need knowledgeable people to help our country in this health issue right now.
Thank you.
He's talking about respirators.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about respirators. You need trained people. The respirators are not like fire extinguishers you just pick up and just set somewhere to do. They need trained nurses to do those things. They need physicians who are trained to even start you on a respirator.
And
So
hold
I
on,
don't know.
hold on there. Talking about the respirators, I think they were mentioned in the letter. That just very few, very few. From what I read, I
Yes,
think I don't even
yes,
remember seeing 10 of them.
yes. So come up and emphasizing testing and you know, taking this thing out of Central Monrovia, having multiple testing sites, having multiple vaccination sites, and
All
really
right.
teaching our people, being
All
in
right.
the forefront of
Thank
this
you.
thing, educating our people. You know how our folks are. Liberia is a country that believes in Benue Sudan. I don't know if you know that.
I
But
heard that before,
we
Benue
need,
Sudan. I don't know, but we
there
have to leave it there. We have a lot of
a
colors, so
huge
please conclude.
need. There is a huge need for teaching.
Thank
And
you.
these clowns come on here and do this kind of interviews, and it's disheartening. It's discouraging.
Hello there. It's not proper that you insult people. You can register your disagreement, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
we don't allow that here.
I was a little bit emotional. I apologize.
Yeah, please control that. Anyway, thanks for your participation. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Let me take this caller on the WhatsApp number. Caller, your name and where you're joining us from quickly.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Cyrus. I thank you for the platform. I'm so sorry that public officials that have been paid taxpayer money will appear on public radio and spew lies. So, like the other callers said, it's clear that those materials were promised prior to the trip. Look, even at that, if they were not, look, the thing when you talk about best friend, if in the word of our leaders that they are friend, that he is a friend to Macron, a phone call alone is sufficient to be able to make whatever necessary, appeal that he can make. So that's my first point. The next point is the money that we collect at the airport, $75. If you calculate, based on the information that I received from other, talk show hosts, that is $8 million. It is a huge amount of money that we can spend to be able to procure vaccines, to be able to procure medical equipment for the intervention with the COVID. But instead, it chose, like what I saw on Facebook today with the link that I also monitor, that the president is not even in where they're having the stuff, but he went to celebrate his son program and his wedding. So basically, it is
no. I think to be focused on Liberia has verified the president was at the conference. Pictures.
No, he was at the conference. I mean today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but they ended today. But go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, it was still going on though when he was in Lely.
Okay.
Yeah. So it hurts me. And then just my last point has to do with the issue of testing. There's no serious country that will do a test when the result has not come and permit that person to leave the country. Even before you leave the United States to travel, it is said that you should be able to put in for your test about 3 days before your trip and receive your records before even leaving.
Thank you.
So those are the things that our country is doing and permitting other people from other countries, after they finish collecting. So for me, the primary reasons why they're just doing it is to just collect the money.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Dennis, we have Kara on the line. You want me to bring you in?
Yeah. Kara will complain.
Let's bring Mr. Weton Kera in. Mr. Kera, welcome. Thanks for always joining us here.
Hello?
Yeah, Weton, go ahead.
Thank you. Anthony and Brother Dennis. I think sometimes, when Liberians come out, there's another guy who called and he was trying to insult people that backing this president. I think the president trip was very timely. I think it was very important. And the president's presence in Liberia will not stop Liberians from killing the people. Neither will it reduce the death rate, relieve supplies in Liberia. The president went out there knowing the fact that if he goes there, he will want to kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone, and it happened. We see the dividend out there. It's going to come to Liberia. In fact, it has landed in Liberia. You understand? Now, I hear people saying some things that, to me, it made no sense. When the outbreak of coronavirus took place in America, at the beginning of the outbreak, America was running for test kits. This sophisticated society we're in, running, looking for test kits, looking for ventilators. They have to shut a whole from the companies down to produce ventilators in this nation. Where we don't produce nothing. We depend on the outside world for everything. And we step as women because we live in this place where we think we got everything at our disposal. We think the spring brush, we play magic. The season of happy yesterday, happy in Liberia. No, brothers and sisters, with all the books you learn, with all the sophistication you think you are, when you go to Liberia, you become humble like the people in Liberia because what? The country does not produce anything for itself. And so when you have a president that knows the plight of the people, he will go out. We know the condition of the country. He will go out to look, to fetch for things for our nation. And just to stop playing politics, just play with it. For people, when the man was going, he will not be transformed. He will not do this. He will not. The man went and he proved you're wrong. He brought things to the country that will help our people. And yourself cannot understand your political it. That is, it's for me, it's something that really hurts my feeling now when I hear we're still talking nonsense about our own country and our leader.
Don't put your feeling in it, Carla. That's people's right to their opinion.
But thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, I'll let him go.
Okay.
So Dennis,
right? So we will be concluding. Finally, another thing that jumped out when he was saying is the whole issue of vaccination. People and when people call, also they disregard the optics, how it look, and showing leader. And there was a winter storm in Texas that knocked down power lines. And Ted Cruz got on a plane to take his family to Mexico. Not that he did anything wrong, but people saw that he was not empathizing with their issue. He was not identifying with their suffering. And that became a big deal. And Ted Cruz had to run back. In Liberia, when those things happen, we always say, the president breaks no law, or the way you show leadership is you do something and let your people see it. With the vaccine or misconception and superstition going on in the country, and you are not being able to take the vaccine publicly, that sent a very bad message. And that's what and Mr. Toby couldn't tell us for a fact, except in different worlds that the president took the vaccine or not. The president should.
Well, Dennis, I think Toby answered the question. He said when the president takes the vaccine, you will get to know publicly. That's in essence is saying that the president has not taken the vaccine. And to your point, Dennis, I tried to bring up the issue of the Madagascar herd. You saw how swiftly the president acted, right? When some Africans were trying to put some hope in that, Madagascar herd, he took it. They paid for it. There were disagreement about it. Some people say it was paid for. Some people say it was a donation. But he went and received it. He took delivery. Yeah, he took delivery. But the vaccine that is proving now to have some level of efficacy, that is helping to reduce, this virus. The president is wasting time. Yeah. World leaders like Biden, Kamala Harris have taken the vaccine publicly. How long will it take the president? And Toby is saying, well, when you were taking the vaccine and that was your family decision, this is not about family now, it's about country.
Even that is not true. If you're in a household, you encourage one another to take the vaccine.
Exactly.
Right? I took it, my wife took it, and then you tell the children. Even there are some kids who are taking their parents. Because I interview people here on the COVID vaccine, and I say, where is the pressure coming from? They say, well, we have kids bringing their parents that, Daddy, you have to take this.
Yeah.
And there's something called herd immunity. The more people in that place take it, we help other people. So if the president is not taking it, and then we go back to asset declaration, that's how you show leadership. When you declare,
I know, right?
The rest of the people will. When you take the vaccine, the rest of the people will. President Sally, to our credit, openly took the vaccine, and we saw that. And I think President Weah should do the same. But
he should do this.
Let's
Let's wrap it all right. But I have another caller on our WhatsApp line here. Our WhatsApp line here. Let me bring the caller in. Caller, quickly. You have a minute.
Yeah, this is Ben.
Give us your full name, Ben.
Ben Newman. I'm calling from North Carolina, Charlotte.
Okay, quickly.
Yeah, I follow the platform closely, and I appreciate your effort. But there is something really that actually make me to make a call.
Go for it.
Yeah, and we the Liberian, at least we should try to appreciate sometimes our leader. When we see some things going on, like what's happening right now in Liberia, people are dying, and the crisis is intensifying. This virus is killing people. But the president sitting home or sitting in the country, even addressing the people will not round up anything or will not change anything.
Traveling will change it, right?
So at least I heard some people saying that he could sit. Of course, it may change it. It may bring some changes. Let me give you some instance. Okay, for example, if this man sit home, like what I heard from some people, right? He sat home, he got contact, he made calls. Like when the former president, our former president said he did during Ebola time. She sat home, she sat in the corner, she made call because she was a female and she had contact, and people could look at her keenly, and then maybe
are you sure because she was a female that why she made call and sat home?
Hold on, Mr. Especially on the international stage. It is not just Macron president we are going through.
Okay.
No, I'm not just talking about female, but I'm only talking about, I just gave you an example, right? It may be that if Madam Selig who have left the country, meet her international partner, no one knew what she would have benefited from.
Okay.
In this case of Weah right now, our president.
Thank you.
If he said him right and then make contact and say, "Oh, my country is going through crisis, so I want you to do this for me to do this." It's not just about Macron. We meet. We got other diplomats, other friends, international partners.
Thank you.
Meet on our program.
Thank you.
Contact and then explain his problem face to face. It's more important than sitting and then making contact.
Thank you.
So that's my own view, but that's my own point, my own contribution to this platform, please.
We appreciate your contribution.
So I really want to express myself on that. We the Liberian, we should really appreciate our leader when they are making effort. Not just our leader, but people.
Thank you. We appreciate your contribution, sir.
All right, thank you.
So Dennis, there you have it. Somebody I listened to who was saying that if I am a father and I have a job, no matter how that job is important to me, if my child is sick, I am not going to work. The person went on to say, if I am a teacher, no matter how education is important, if my child is sick, I am not going to teach. Because what good of a teacher I am or a father I am when I'm gone to school, when I have a sick child that might die because I'm not there, then what kind of father I am? So I'm saying this to say that I know it is debatable, but I maintain that my personal opinion is President Weah could have stayed home and made these calls, because when we look at the letter talking about the 40,000 kids, that letter was written June 28th. That was that was before so this is France that has decided to make the contribution because of COVID. Maybe there were discussions before that happened. I don't know the fact. So we could have gotten these very things. And President Weah had a team there, right? Eugene Namwe, the defense minister, Piso Sedita, and then you're talking about the foreign affairs minister. Those people could have represented him. We would have gotten these very things or even more. And that's where I stand, Dennis.
And Mr. CA, it is not debatable to say whether you should go or not. It is not debatable. I think the issue has been among us is we really don't know what the role of the president should be, right? And we always think it is a favor if the president even come to our house.
Yeah.
So when the president does what he's supposed to do, Liberians should appreciate, because we are used to being abused. We are used to our leaders being corrupt, mismanaging public resources. So even if out of what they steal from us, they give us a nickel out of that, we're supposed to be dancing hallelujah anyhow. That's the problem. Okay. In any crisis, the first thing you want to find out is what is needed. What really do we need now when it comes to the fight against COVID? Is it respirators? Is it? And I was asking during my show yesterday that people go at a RIA and you take a swab, like the one Dr. Tim Nevin described. He says someone dressed as a nurse come and swap your nose and go. Do you need outside help for that? What outside help do we need for, let's say, the head of the incident management team or someone who is like our own Dr. Fauci to come out and spell out what we need to do? Do we need
every day?
Right. What outside help do we need for us to coordinate our efforts? Right now in my hometown of Dodwick, 3 persons died back to back. You know what they are doing?
No.
They are beating a 70-year-old man for being responsible for being the witchcraft. That could be COVID.
Yeah.
Right? The other person said, from what clearly looked like tetanus, lockjaw, because his jaw was locked, but they said that was witchcraft. So what I'm saying is there are a lot of things that we can do in the country with the president leadership than going outside to ask for, we say, how many vaccines coming? Even the vaccine, we have money to buy them if we can.
Dennis, that's what I was coming to. That's what I was coming to. Do we have to go beg for money before we can buy vaccine? Can we not find these? The very government give $1.5 million to legislators. I have not verified the portion of the president. They said the president got about $2 million for his own engagement. Can we not, or could we not pull that $3.5 million together and buy coronavirus vaccine? Up to now, there's no history of Liberia purchasing her own vaccine. I may be wrong.
We have Dr. Dubayan here, right? Saying, I'm pleading with the government. We can have our own test kit. Give me the platform, give me some resources. Let me develop this for you. We say no. How many times have we even tried, we have tried to reach out to diaspora Liberians and say we need help. During Ebola, all our communities, including right here in Atlanta, Georgia, we mobilized to send kit or PPEs to Liberia. That has not been done. But you're going to Macron. Macron was probably a kid when you were playing in France. And there's the man you run into to sit down and say, oh, we get this, we get that. Sometimes I get impatient. But we have 5 minutes to wrap this up. I like the callers. I like what they're saying. But mostly, let's know that what the office of the president is supposed to be doing. Other people that are being paid to work, they're supposed to work. And they need to be given that chance to work and not always hover over them and say it should take the president to leave before something happens. Then you don't have a government, you don't have a country.
And then in a democracy, we've been told over and over, the number one responsibility of a president is the security of his people.
Yeah.
Right? So your people are at risk with a Delta variant that is killing. There's no protocol in place. We don't know how many persons are affected. And the president has to go to this place just to take pictures with world leaders. These are the pictures that we've shown now. So we have set the standard so low that some people are celebrating. The president took pictures with these people. Yes, in politics, in leadership, we know that symbolism matters, right? Leaders will get together, they will take pictures. But when you have a crisis, it becomes irrelevant because the life of your people, their security should be your paramount responsibility. So when their security is at risk, you keep that symbolism a little bit, you pick up the phone and you make the call. I continue to say, all those things will have been accrued and even more. President Weah decided to participate virtually. Come to think about the president of Mexico, the president of Argentina, the vice president of the United States. These people, they participated virtually. who have done that, and it who have suggested to the Liberian people that the president is staying with the people that elected him because they are threatened by COVID-19. I think that's why the president should have done that, and that is my personal opinion.
And later this evening at 6 o'clock, we're going to have the literary hour, The Making of the Republic, Landing and Settling. Your host, Dr. K. Moses Namwe, and the scholar, Jackie Sayer, will be here to discuss. Tomorrow, 1 p.m., we're going to have the progressives of Liberia, their activities, 1970s, 1980s, and today. We have our progressive Ezekiel Pajibo and progressive Wilmot Coney will be here to make the case for the progressive, while Rufus Berry and George P. Lobo of the Drive will be asking some poignant questions as to the activities, the accomplishment, and the successes or failures of the progressive. You don't want to miss that.
Certainly.
On that note, we want to thank all of you for following the broadcast. We want to thank Mr. Toby also for giving us some time to hear from France directly. We want to say, keep your dial set here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. This is the only program, this is the only platform where you have rich content, diverse and everywhere, all geared toward educating, elevating, and promoting all things Liberia. Until then, we want to close with our closing song that says, we are all Liberians. Whether you believe what we have said is complete nonsense or not, whether you believe we are biased, in the middle, far right, far left, it doesn't matter. We are all Liberians, and we must do everything possible to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good day.
We are Liberians.